morning, class. Welcome to another episode of OSS, Occult Science Sundays. Did I say morning? It's afternoon. It's fully afternoon. Um, but today, I don't know. I'm gonna say this is like Fridays, It's basically an off day. It's more no true actual lesson today. Um, just it's more of a sit and chat. Speaking of, I have painted today alone. Painted. I started painting it yesterday, and I have sewn, and the top is almost done. I had to do some changes because if I didn't do the changes, then it would just be yitties out, and nobody. I can't say nobody wants that, but like I don't want that. um, but yeah, just today's just one of those days. No actual lesson. Um, but I guess I could tell you or catch you up on some of the reminiscing slash spiritual slash like other stuff that has happened to me since last week's lesson. I was pretty quiet about it honestly, but I was extremely tired even going into last week, but like whew. Um I was really tired, and this is what was I had recorded, or I at least tried recording a video on Wednesday, was it? It was either Wednesday or Thursday. But I was just talking about how last week alone I had taken 3 naps, and I'm not a big nap person. Um and like even as of late, or a recent development, and by recent I mean like this year, um no matter what time I go to sleep at, I will wake up at 6, or like 6, almost 7. Um, but yeah, I had actually sorry. Oh my god, I can't believe I didn't do it. I'm gonna have to cut out all the slamming stuff. My desk is incredibly messy. I say incredibly. It's messy as in it has a lot on it, but like it doesn't have like food stuff. It's mostly ash. Nope. Because this is a red lens, I can't tell what color this is. My guess is it's purple. It's red. Okay. Anyway, so okay. Now everything is ready for class today. Um so as I was saying, I have been very tired, or was very tired all of last week. Um and like napping isn't something I usually do. Like I am a person who is very sleepy, but like I rarely ever take naps, and like I wake up early and I can't go back to sleep. Um but yeah, I had taken 3 naps last week, which got to point that out too. 3. Um and sure, one of them could have felt like it could have been attributed to like a sugar crash, cuz I had a lot of sugar at the beginning of the week and then like crashed, you know. But two of the other naps, I was just like doing stuff and then I had fallen asleep. Um, and I believe I had a dream each of those times. I can't entirely remember. Um, but it feels like something that, ooh, I really like the way this one smells. It kind of smells like grapey in a way. Um, but yeah, on one of the days, I had gone to, I had gone for, really, I wanted to walk, but I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna go and get like a snack. And it was three things I don't usually get. I had gotten Sour Bites Blue Raspberry. I had gotten Swedish Fish Tails. I do really love Swedish Fish. I don't know. They're like, I love Swedish Fish. They're so good. I just rarely get them. And I had gotten a can of ranch Pringles. And the total came out to exactly 555. And I was like, because even on my way down to the store, I was like, do I want to just like get some snacks and go back home? I kind of feel like going for a walk. This was also late. It was like after 7. So like the sun was just starting to set. And after I saw the 555, I was like, actually, yeah, I am gonna go for a walk because I feel like I want to go. I want to go to the park. And then as soon as I made that decision and started walking down the street, I saw a black cat. And for me, black cats are just like, I know in general cats are a huge symbolism, but like black cats are a big symbol of I am on the right track. Um, and I am like listening to myself and listening to my intuition because, and I even went back to through my camera images recently and saw the precise day that my life had changed. And it's so funny because, like, even if you look at the picture, sure, it may not seem like anything all that special or anything. But it was also when I started, like, my lock journey. And I had gone, and I just needed something. And there was this circle in the backyard made from plants. So, you know, it was probably a fairy circle. And I always do this pattern. I almost never enter my backyard without stepping on specific rocks. And I have done that ever since I was a child. It's like a habit I can't break. But I had done that, saw the circle, and then I went, stood in the circle. And it was even funnier because, like, it wasn't really all that sunny that day either. And it was kind of cold. Yeah. It was kind of a cold day. But the light was going through our back balcony, just right above it, right onto the circle, and it was crazy because it was like the everywhere else in the backyard was shaded. So I went, stood. I think, well, obviously, I was listening to music. I barely leave my house without having my headphones in. Um, they weren't these ones. These ones are just recently refound, but I was using my Soundcore ones, the ones that looped around my ears. Um, but I think either a day before or a couple days prior, I had like danced while listening to music inside the circle. That time I just stood there and let the sun shine on my face. And I even like took pictures of myself in that moment, and like the sun was only on me. Um and then afterwards I was just like, I want to go for a walk. And so I walked, and I walked to the park that was by the place I used to work. This happened December 30th, 2024. I had walked, and on the way there, I saw a black cat. Um, and even before that, when I was starting to get hit with everything, like the first licks of where I started listening to um, some of the readings on TikTok, because I'm still a skeptic at the end of the day, where I was I was like, I just needed something. I needed hope, you know. And not gonna lie, if you look back at pictures that I took back then, which it's sad that Snapchat is deleting all of them, because I don't have space and I'm not buying anything off Snapchat. Like, it's good. That you're good. But for the most part, it's probably going to go through like my college stuff first and delete those, which it always hurts me to look back at those because I was so far gone. But anyway, if you look back before or even around that time in 2024, I was manic. I was manic. And that's what happens whenever I'm like it was manic depression, because there were times where I was, as I mentioned, in my college days, I was just this glum energy, like invisible, but just this dark glob of blackness, not not race wise, but like nothingness. I felt like nothing. Um, there was that, and then there were the levels of depression that I had back in high school, which is probably the best ways I could describe not not just high school, but like specifically eighth grade was probably when I was more manic, because I was just like, everything's looking up, everything will go my way, everything will go my way, everything will go my way next year, and nothing matters right now, nothing, like absolutely nothing matters right now. I can't even get hurt. Um, but yeah, and I have since mellowed. um, but in those moments of lucidity, I just remember taking a walk, just seeing cats. And the thing is, cats have always been, there have always been like street cats, like on my street, that basically a breeding ground on this street. But I have always been surrounded by cats. I wouldn't say that I ever really hated cats. I felt like I had to because nobody really liked cats. That was a trend when I was younger for some reason. Um, um, but and it's just like, okay, so my front porch used to have to save kittens from there all the time because it would be a cozy place for like cats to give birth. Um, but then they would get stuck behind the fence and they would always meow loud enough. I was probably the person who like opened it the most to like let them out. Um, but yeah, cats would always used to always come up to me or just inherently trusted me when I was younger. And now I finally got the appreciation of them. Um but yeah, that was one of my first, and I think I don't know whether I probably did date it because my little journal, which I've had basically since starting this journey, um wait, did I? Actually, I probably didn't journal because I don't think that I had my bag with me. I think I just took a picture of the um what do they call it? Bleachers. Yeah. I think I just took a picture of the bleachers and wrote in my notes app because that was before I had my burgundy journal. My notes app was where it was at, you know. I still put things in my notes app, not as often now. Like it's mostly reserved for lists. It used to be I wrote dreams in there, I wrote stories in there, I wrote little ideas in there. Now it's just actual notes. So, like I whatever I do plan for OSS, it's in my notes app. Because it's the easiest thing to it's on my phone so I will remember it. Um and remember to like go through it while talking to y'all. But I anyway, I feel like I kind of strayed away from what I was talking about. Um, I on that day, with the 555 and the black cat, I have also since seen another black cat while I was sitting in my backyard. There's this little nook area that cats love to sit in. That day, way back in 2024, actually, the day that I was dancing inside the fairy circle, I there was actually a cat there. It wasn't a black cat. It had like a white underbelly and like a brownish orange coat spots kind of stuff. I don't know what type of cat that is. Um but it it was just there. And I don't know whether I was disturbing it or anything, but like it didn't leave, and I was pretty close to it. And usually they run away, but like, um, I was just dancing, and occasionally it would look at me. That was funny. But anyway, um, back to back to the day I was talking about earlier. That the more recent one last week. Um, I had gone to the park, sat down, like it was legit already dark by the time I got there. It was late, it was 8. But I was like, I just need a couple of minutes to write, just write down a little bit, Um, hold on. I do still have it. What did I write? What did I write? That's not it. Hmm. I had written down basically like the animals I have that have helped the animals that have helped me and guided me in a way. Um, for a period of time, there have been two specific dream instances in recent days, and it's just this year as a whole, which is almost half over. Crazy, right? Crazy. We're about to be in the fifth month of 2026. Isn't that wild? Um, but I had written down foxes, and they. The thing is, I never really had anything against foxes or anything. I think they're cute, honestly. Um, and I didn't realize I was hiding using a fox mask to hide. Um, and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing or anything. I'm not saying that, but it's the thing of because like think of a fox, they what they're known for in fox personalities, someone who is sly, that you can't really get a grasp on, like very mysterious creatures, sprightly, like those kind of things. And I didn't realize how evasive I was being. Like, yes, I have kept my mask up around people. I don't remember the last time I haven't. Um, but putting on the persona of a fox, it's just something I didn't realize I was doing. At the end of the day, I didn't realize I was so aligned in a fox personality at the time. I don't know whether I really want to go into like full detail of like what dreams I've had. I feel like okay. It's safe to say. It's safe to say. So I had a dream a while back where the first part doesn't entirely matter. I had like gone to a party. It was really lame. And it kind of got like shut down or something like that. So I left. My friends also left without me. It's whatever. I left, and the reason why it affected me that my friends left without me or like went somewhere else. I feel like they were talking about getting getting the goods, and I had gone inside the party, but them being gone, it affected me because like I pretty sure I mentioned it before. I can sometimes be like directionally challenged. I get lost pretty easily. Um and in dreams it's even more confusing. So I had that at the back of my mind of I get lost easily. And but I was just like I was trying to retrace the steps that we took to get there and it wasn't even that far. And so I was walking back, and as I was walking back I looked away as I was walking upstairs, and the stairs were like a natural thing. Like we had taken stairs down in order to get to the party in the first place. But walking back up, I the place had changed, and it was in a space I had been before, maybe a different area. Um, but it was. I don't know how to say this without sounding cringe, but it was like it wasn't Edo. I don't know exactly what era it was, but it was very old, a very old time uh Japan. And like when I was looking at a sign, and then it was like a sign to an inn. I had looked at the sign, and then when I looked back it would just okay. This is also way after. Was it way after? I don't know. It was a short period of time, either before or after Silent Hill F. I think it was before. Yeah, it was before. Um, but it was just this line of like um not shrine maidens per se, but definitely like a ceremony was going on, and every single one of them was wearing a fox mask. And like there was clearly supposed to be a performance because they were playing a beat, and it was a beat like I was supposed to know. I knew that I knew it, but I couldn't get on beat with them. And they were doing the whole ceremony, and then like dancers came out, and I was supposed to dance along with them, but again I couldn't. I wasn't dancing at the on the right beats. Um, and then like we went to this whole place, and even as I was still trying to keep up, then I saw like African ceremony, and then they started dancing on their two different beats that still went together. And then I ended up dancing on the in between beats, and like it was just faster, and it ended up turning into like flamenco. So there's that one. That was one of the dreams with like a fox mask. Um, which is again funny that I had the dream before Silent Hill F, and that one is all about fox mask. Well, not all about, but like huge part. Um, and then the other one I was I guess you could say I was a samurai. I wasn't, no, but I did have a long blade. And like it was clearly like one of the times. It was one of the times where I had been this happens often in my dreams. I had been like outed, not outed, but ousted, um, like shunned by my family, and I had left and done my own thing. And um, I had this mask that I would wear on the front. It was like a yellow fox mask. Um, and then I also had another one that sat on the back of my head, which was a white one. And I would fight with those things. And I had ended up saving someone. Um, and like, I had a brief conversation with them, and then went on my way. And then later on, when I returned home, because the garden I had planted in my backyard, which is also a common theme a lot in some of the dreams I have, where I have a flourishing garden in my backyard. But this one, it was a tree. It was a fruit tree, which I had planted earlier in like an earlier dream, and they wanted to cut it down, and I was like protesting that they shouldn't cut it down. And apparently the person I saved was there, and he had recognized the mask, and I was just like, yeah, that was my mask. But at the time I had like stopped wearing it. I was like no longer wearing one of them, and I still had the other one on the back of my head. Um, but yeah, those were the two most recent fox mask dreams I've had. Um, but also in my notes that I had written down in the park was another animal I had been, which is more. Whew, I feel like that was the first time I actually like burped on camera. But yeah, tiger, which has been a more. It's not a more recent development, but it's more of a like more recent acknowledging. Like I have always thought tigers were cool. Um, but there have been times, I don't know whether anybody else has this problem. I know that there is a problem with like running in dreams. Like that is a common thing that people have said that they have had, like, you run all sluggishly in dreams. But the thing with me is like sometimes I don't run sluggishly all the time in my dreams, but there are times where I can't not be on all fours, is the thing. Yeah, I can't not be on all fours, and I will like literally be running like an animal. Um, but in a more recent dream, I had finally made the connection that in that time, in those times when I was running, and like it felt like I had oxygen in my lungs, and that I could just like, when I was running away, it would be a tiger. I would become a tiger basically. Um, but in that dream, I had like, because I was running away from someone. I'm gonna just say it. I was running away from my sister. I was running away from my sister. Um, and she was chasing after me in my tiger form, and then I just like split off from it and walked, which is so funny because it was in the dream I was bounding past the same park that I was sitting and writing in my notes. Um, and I walked through that park on the way back, and I had taken a different way home than the usual way. But yeah, so just, little things like that I have started noticing in recent days, little signs that I've been getting so many numbers, as I mentioned earlier, 555, what I purchased. Even when I was recording this, I saw 321 and 345. So that also tells you what time I'm recording these. So, uh, but yeah, I have been in a better place in trying to listen more into my intuition in like analyzing the things that I have been seeing in my mind's eye, you know. Um, but yeah, that is a little update on like spiritual things on my end. For if in case you couldn't tell, my energy has, because um getting these things off my chest really does like make me really sleepy. I also haven't eaten today. So you could say that almost every single time that I've recorded OSS, I haven't. I think last week's I did eat before, but the other times I'm pretty sure I was fasting beforehand. So thank you for coming into class today. um, and just homework for today. Go and take a walk in nature and name three animals. The first one is the first layer. The second one is the first one is the pretend, right? Is the easy answer. The second one is the mask that you wear, and the third one is who you are. And that's all for this video. Thank you for watching, and I love you all.